Sensie Owl Bob. How you doing? It's a little rainy, cold day, and I'm indoors enjoying some cup of Java. So, what do you think? I've been talking to you guys once a day, give or take, last couple of weeks, and I'm in the non-disclosed location for the winter because it looks like it's going to be a cold one. And um, about a third of all electricity comes from Canada in the United States. So just think, if Donnie pisses him off one more time, he'll just turn off the switch. That would be everyone in the Northeast, Boston, New York, all of that, right? All the way to D.C. No electricity, and talk to people in Chicago. What it would be like for them if they had no electricity? They just had a big snowstorm, and we got like 10 gigantic northeasters lined up for the next 15 days. That's like one every, 2.5 days. It's like 20 inches of snow going on in the Northeast. No electricity, no heat, no gas in your car. And that looked fun. And a lot of the political, always listen to my old buddy Al. We got a great generator. Good. That's what I said. I've been telling people the last year, every time we go to the supermarket, buy 5 or 6 more cans. I mean, I'm eating food that has, the expiration date is 1974, right? So I've got a lot of canned food that's been there for a long time. It still works, Still looks pretty good. I had a friend back in September who come visit, and I cooked her up some dinner. And there was a can it was like, that there was a movie called Repo Man, right? This is one scene where he goes into this like supermarket, and everything on the shelves is with a white, and it says manufactured food. It doesn't say what it is, doesn't say it's like beef stew, or it just says manufactured food. And that's becoming more and more. I see a lot of that in the supermarkets. It's like, wee, on mountain autonomy, we had to be sometimes get snowed in for 2. Yep, exactly. I mean, that's the deep green is that. But deep green's got 2 mountain ranges. It's got the Blue Ridge on one side and the Sawtooth mountain range of the Appalachian Mountains. So anyway, storms come from Illinois and Canada and kind of hit one mountain range or the other, and either bounce off and like go east or north or go down south. And that's about 80% of the time, but about 20% of the time we get some. But usually it's not that big a deal. But we had snow last month. We get it last month. We had snow. Not a lot. But around here, what's really dangerous, you get a lot of snow, it's not a big deal. I mean, if you get 2 or 3, 5 inches of snow, get half inch of snow, and then it gets real cold, then the roads turn into skating rinks. Especially the backwoods roads that I live off of. Real mountains. Yeah, real mountains. I love the Rockies, but only in summer. Right, exactly. So there's 3 of you there. 1 thumbs up. Oh, well, that's really big. Back in, when my car blew up and I had, 16 weeks of not being able to go anywhere, I would walk up the hill 1.5 miles to my neighbor and sit on his deck and do a show. Now I'm in an undisclosed place, and I have access. Say, Rubus, what happened? When the message gets retracted, did you do it or did the AI do it? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, back there in August, September, when I was stuck up there, which great. The first day I was like, I don't have my car, I can't go anywhere. And God said, no, buddy, it could be worse. You could be in a hospital bed right now, totally gored up as a barbecued marshmallow. And he was right. I mean, the way that the whole thing with my car worked out, it was a miracle, because I was going up this big hill, 4-lane roads with no space to like get off. And bingo, there was a hole in the mountain. That was someone's driveway, and I shot right up it. But if I hadn't taken it, boy, it was a gasoline tanker right behind me that was trying to pass me. Ooh, that wouldn't have been good. Yep, me. Okay. So anyway, we're seeing just a plethora of the perfect storm. The weather's becoming like 9 to 10 northeaster storms in the next 15 days on the east coast of America. It's like, really? And no one's ready for it, not even close, right? And our government, decapitated by douche and Donny Boy, and then we were closed, and all those airline guys have been out of work, and the system's coming back because, our airline system is relatively robust because it has to deal with storms and all kinds of stuff all the time. So it's relatively robust. But we still have radars and computers that are left over from the 60s, So, ooh-wee. And, you look at Ukraine and, Russia was supposed to have broken through and taken Pokrovsk, and that's the end of it. And Ukraine's going to have to surrender and give up everything. It didn't happen. It's just another meat grinder, and Russia's been losing like 1,000 kids a day, right? And another 1,000 that'll never walk again or be human again, right? And he's like using up resources. Whee! And Ukraine is taking it on the chin too. Because they're like the perfect David going up against Goliath. And they've been doing it for now, February it'll be 5 years. And you look at the Gaza, the IDF is not staying behind the yellow line. And even if they did, that yellow line takes up almost half the strip. And 1,000, West Bank people are, non-IDF, non-Zionist people there are dead, right? Anyway, and all their olive trees and their goats. So yeah, and then you look at, Sierra Leone, right? And that makes the other two wars look like nothing. So, and that's just 3 of the 128 wars that are going on right about now. And it's all about corporate money. It's about corporate money. And people constantly call Donnie and his chuckleheads fascist. No, they're just grifters. Donnie's just a game show host. No, they were all put there to sow chaos so we could have the Federation, Roddenberry brought us that into the 60s just to give us a heads up of where we were going. Of it showing what Earth was like after 2030. Oh, we're heading for that, kids. Good luck. The only way we can get over this is through prayer. Come on, I want you guys, there's 3 of you there, start praying, Father, hear our prayer. We have not a clue of what we're doing. Please, take the wheel from our hands, drive the car of our life, and help us out here. We can only serve you. The only way we can get out of this, because there ain't going to be end times anytime soon. Because the devil was made by God. Satan is God's boy. And what is Satan there for? To tempt us, right? When back in the day, Moses was up on the mountain, his last 30 years, the first 30 years was he was, the beloved one of the Pharaoh, and then he oopsed, and so he had to run out and go up to Africa, real Africa, not just the Mideast Africa, but real Africa. And that's where he hung out for 30 years, hanging with his cute chick, who his daughter, one of the 3 daughters of a very interesting guy who lived up there in the hills, and all he did was, he was the nighttime boy watching out for the goats, right? And then the burning bush showed up and said, Moses, go back to Egypt and save the Hebrews, right? Get them out of there. And he said, why should I? They're a bunch of chuckleheads, forget about it. And he goes, no, 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 you need to go. And I said, why should I go? And the burning bush is, because I need them to be my mirror. I have no idea what's going on without watching them. And that's the covenant. That's why they're the chosen ones, because they are so endemic of how humans screw up. God gets a good image of what's going on. So just look at, you want to see the endemic thing of how humans screw up? All you got to do is look at BB and the Boys, right? And look at, go on David Icke's thing and let him describe what Rothschild is and what all of that is and how it's connected to Saturn. And so, like I said, no time's coming. All the Christian, I'm now like in 5 different Christian churches, right? And I've gone and visited them all, and they like me, I go to Bible study, quote verses, and then stories about how they connect to us, right? How they make sense, where they're not just a verse in a book, right? Why this is the Word of God, and why it is the Word of God. And they're kind of, and pretty much this is all I wear. I wear my little, monk thing and my red coat so no one will run me over in the parking lot, So anyway, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and here we are, 11 minutes into the show. I should be a dear Baba. Yeah, baby, I'm here for you. So 90s wars in the 90s, yes, now 128 and 125. Yep, exactly. So, wow. And the thing that I am always feel for are the other. Whenever I'm in church and I go, oh, anyone have any prayers? Oh, yeah, Sylvia's dying of cancer. Bobby's got cancer. Larry's got cancer. But now, we have, future, everything is great because of chemistry, Let's have plastics, the big important thing is plastics. Remember that, plastics, right? That's cancer right there, kids. And that big diesel truck that you go by and you see that big black smokestack coming out of the back of that truck. That's like, that's like if they chopped up plastic bags and blew it in your face, right? So anyway, so I always say, praise God, praise Jesus, and bless the other. What are you talking about? And I said, that's your brother's sister from another mother in the crosshairs of a cultural holocaust. Huh? So people don't know that Baba is God, not me. Even though my wife used to call me that. But, and another friend used to call me Babu or Baba or Babu. There was a lot of Bobs, and that's why I'm Bob. You get the connection there? Al Bob, right? Cancer, prayer, fasting will do the trick. Yep, you got it. Prayer and fasting. When I fast one day of the week, it takes care of my diabetes. I keep it around between 90 and 125 no matter what I eat. Just one day of fasting. Prayer. And I do take cinnamon and turmeric and coumarin if I have too many cookies. But pretty much that's all it is. That's all it takes, right? Same with all of my blood heart shit, meaning all it takes is, prayer and fasting. And water is deadly. They've destroyed all our water, and they're going to use whatever little left of water we have on these stupid AI, and all the electricity, the poor people there in Tennessee and starts with an M. Anyway, they've been screwed every which way they can be, and now, Husk has gone there, and was right on the tip of my tongue. no, not Memphis, and where the bridge is, right? So, that's where Dr. King got shot, and Elon bought this Electrolux factory, 5 million square feet under a roof, and he's putting his big brain there. And with douche, well, the 2 months he was under douche, or leading douche, he just said in his kids to just plug the servers and take it down to Memphis. And they had all the IRS information, all the Social Security information, all the information from everything you can think of, and they're using it to smarten up that machine, right? And they're using all of Memphis' electricity. Their electric bill went from 32 cents a kilowatt hour to $3 a kilowatt hour. So it went from the average electric bill being about 30 bucks to being 300 bucks, right? And now they have no water because it's all going into the big brain. I love that crony capitalism. We don't have capitalism. We have crony capitalism. Just look at the guys who are Donnie's, cabinet, right? They're all billionaire chuckleheads grafting away. I mean, Donnie's showing how to do it. Junior's doing it. Eric is doing it. But Eric can't even get this in a sippy cup. It's like. But I love my Donald Trump because most empires end. It takes about 300 years. He's doing it in less than 10 months. I love my Donald Trump. Now, I feel sorry for the poor people who realize all they have to do is, fast and pray, and they can get over their diseases. I'd like to see, what's his name, Kennedy, Boy Kennedy, who's a real piece of work. His younger brother was my roommate in prep school. And I got to know that family because, they come and visit Joe. That was my roommate, Joe Kennedy. And I used to read books all the time. I'd be reading and reading. And he'd go, why are you reading books? I said, well, it's poetry and it's theater and it's novels by the great. And it's a lot of information that's valuable. And he goes, well, I don't have to read books. I'm a Kennedy. Yep, your heart tells you what to eat and drink. Intuition learned to listen. It's a process. Yep. Gift to gift of this avatar of the age, this Mayor Baba. Yep, Mayor Baba. I had lots of friends in the 60s, 70s, and 80s who were Mayor Baba devotees. And they were great people, really. And they were in Vista, volunteers in service to Maine. A lot of Mayor Bob there, and I actually still kind of around. I went to one of they were like the in crowd, and so I went and visited, like not shaking his hand, but not like in a gigantic stadium, but just, and I didn't want to, be anything but the observer and open myself up to that energy, and it was a clarity of definite love. Just like, there's another guy, I forget his name, but he's around now, and he has communities around, and a Russian lady that there were a lot of singing cedar series of books that she wrote in the 70s and 80s, and
Come on out there and break your leg.
Yeah, break my leg. Or
Yep.
Or your hip, or
That's right.
yeah. So when I see the innocent always getting the raw end of the deal, that's what hurts me. When I see my friends really sick because internally they don't think they are, worthy of God's love, even though they're really churchy people and blah, 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 blah. And they, pray all the time in public. Yep, the door is closing. So, anyway. So anyway, what you need to do is go out there and live your life in the covenant of God's unconditional love. Because you are the covenant. God is looking to all of us to be the reflection so God can see what's going on, because God lives from the Omega, meaning in the moment, not the past, not the future. The Alpha and Omega is right here, right now, this second, this minute, this nano instant, right? That's where God is. Here is a roadmap on how to build your community, right? That when she was talking about the prisons that, when the Soviet Union collapsed, they had no money, and so, she went out to the government and said, listen, why don't you let us just, build little, you can make the fence around, but let's build little houses for everyone and give them half an acre to grow food, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to get canned crap to them, and they can just, and by the way, they can sell the excess to the town right next to it and make some money, so you don't have to give any money, right? Don't worry, be happy, there is only now, so watch my screen. Yep. So just listen to what people are saying, and when anyone comes to like, "Arr," you just stand back out of like harm's way and listen to them. We go on and on and on, and they go, well, don't you have anything to say? I said, no, you're not done yet. Keep going. I'm listening. And they go, don't you have a point of view to, like, tell me I'm wrong? I said, no. I just keep going. And then they I'm done. And then you repeat everything they just told you, and they will go, you listen to me, right? And then they're your best friend. Don't worry, be happy. Yeah. I mean, didn't God say that? Don't worry, be happy. Anybody who's part of the covenant is kind of right. Anyway, so here it is. It's 22 minutes and 23 seconds. So I'm sitting on a wood chair here. I'm gonna go walk a little bit. So I'll speak to you guys later. Okay.